Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those joining us on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on Instagram so they can be a part of our chat for today. And last but certainly not least, going to bring in our friends over on Amazon Live. And I'm excited about our next guest, even though she's been here a time or two before. But we're gearing up for something very special. So we're glad you all could be with us to be able to talk about it, to talk about what it's about, and then remind you how you guys can be able to watch it. And we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. Going to type you guys a welcome message over there. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon side, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below. And let me just say, thank you all on Amazon for making us the number one media show on Amazon. Not one day, not 2 days, but now 3 days in a row. And I really appreciate you guys over there. So I definitely appreciate you guys supporting the content. If you guys have any questions or comments, the chat is open. Ally Dalsimer is back with us today. We're excited about that. Ally's the author of the award-winning book, It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. We began this year with a series based on her book. We're now gearing up for a second season of that series that's going to be kicking off this Friday while I'm in Los Angeles. I'm excited about that. I'm going to talk to Ally today, though, about the inspiration for the book, what it's been like for her to share these lessons with all of us, and what she hopes to be able to take away from the series. Ally, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I'm very excited to be here with you today.
Well, look, I'm always excited to talk with you. And at this point, we're kind of having these perfect bookends. We began 2025 with this series. Now we're going to end 2025 with the second season. And this is something I should say, Ally, that when I first, let me let you tell our audience. When I first presented you with this, about doing this show and then the podcast, what were your thoughts about it?
I was a little reticent. I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure anybody would really be interested. And, you encouraged me. And so I transformed my nervousness into excitement. And I told you at the time, I was like, well, I'm not so sure, but I am going to embrace it. And we're going to go for it. And as it so often turns out with you, Cyrus, you ended up being right. And I thought the series went very well. We got some great feedback, as you know, and I ended up really enjoying discussing the book and really getting into some of the nitty gritty of it. So it was great. You were 100% right, and I'm very glad that I did that.
Well, I appreciate that. Craven, hello to you over there on YouTube. Good to be able to see you over there. And we'll appreciate you guys already coming in over there on IG as well. Michelle B. Gospel, hello to you. Buford, hello to you as well. Well, I wanted to have this show with you before I head to Los Angeles. Our next show will be on Friday, Ally, when I'm in Los Angeles, when we're kind of starting the introduction of the new season. For people who have not gotten your book, and we definitely encourage them to get it. They can get it in print. They can get the Kindle edition, even the audio book. What inspired It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day?
Well, first, let me say that this week only, as just a nod to the fact that it's, summer's ending, people are busy, we're getting back to school, back to work, back to the stressors of life, I've put the ebook on sale on Amazon for just 99 cents. So that's just this week. So if you haven't gotten the book, now's your chance to get it for $1. Yeah. And in terms of what inspired me, I had originally started what became this book as life advice for my kids after their father, my husband, passed. And it's based on a bunch of quotes that I use as mantras or motivators in my life. And I put them into this little folder, it was more of a Word document than a book at that point. Mm-hmm. And then after the pandemic, and there was a lot that went on in my personal life at that time. I was running for public office, and my mother became ill, and she passed, and then my kids left, and I was alone for the first time since my 20s, and I hit kind of a dark place. I ended up pulling out this folder with the notes and my original writings, and decided it gave me something to do, and I would start again. And it evolved as I was working on it into, from life advice to my kids into more of a book format. So instead of having just the quote, I decided I really needed some personal context for, what each of these meant and how they could be interpreted. And so I started including personal stories or other life lessons or examples from other people's lives or just the world in general. And it became a much more robust document. And I sent it off to them, and they shared it with some friends and encouraged me to publish it for a broader audience. And there was a process where I was, I guess, informally beta testing it with friends in my book club and other folks. And in the end, I made the decision to publish what is actually a very personal and heartfelt book and put it out there for everybody. And I'm glad I did, because it has now, of course, brought me to you right here, right now.
Yeah, and we have to give a shout out to our mutual friend Robert Blake Whitehill, who
Yes.
introduced me initially to you, Allie, and to your book. He spoke very highly of you, and so I remember when we
Oh,
first had you on the radio show with the first edition of the book, and then to be able to have seen you now with the new edition, but also I would say, Allie, and you can correct me on this, I would say with new confidence, because this Allie of 2025 is not the same Allie I first interviewed. Have you seen the change in yourself since the book first came out?
yes, 100%. 100%. And, it's very interesting that you mentioned Robert, because he was very encouraging of me, really wanted me to get out there, thought there was something in my book. And, I was still very much in I don't know if people are going to react to this well. I'm putting a lot of myself out there. I don't know. A lot of insecurities, which I think is natural. And as I've talked about the book and as people have really shared that something in it, even if it's just a small kernel, has spoken to them, just knowing that the book has helped even just one person, right?
Yeah.
That makes the whole thing. I even say that in the book. Like, if it helps even one person, it's worthwhile. And it
Mhm.
and it has done that. And I really wasn't sure. I didn't have the confidence. And talking with you and with other people about what's in the book, and more broadly about how my experiences can be used as uh, I don't know if it's an example is the right word, but as one way or as a series of suggestions for how people can take the content and make it their own, because the book is not didactic. It doesn't say do this, do that, do the other.
Right.
It offers guidance that needs to be filtered through a personal lens, each person's own personal lens. And having people tell me that it has helped, that they have found motivation, or that they, as you said, you felt seen when you read it, that was pretty powerful for me. um, that's helped. It's a positive feedback loop. It gives me confidence and helps me share more, which then gives me more confidence when I get good feedback. And it's not, maybe it's not for everybody. I've had a couple of people say, oh, it's fine, it's a good read, it didn't really speak to me, especially people who have already gone through their own journeys, people who aren't
Yeah.
really in that transition phase. They're not really struggling with anything, and they've really gone through their whole self healing. My book doesn't speak to those people, because that's not who it's targeted for. But um, for those that are in need of that, it seems to help. It's a one prong of a fork that can hopefully lift you up.
It's so interesting hearing you say that, Allie, because I would argue as a reader that I think all of us, even though, and I think one of the things I've had to learn in my own life is that we don't graduate, from life, right? I mean, we may come through one challenge or difficulties, but if life continues, there is sure to be another, which is why I see this book not as a one and done. Like someone may say, it may not speak to me, it may not speak to them today. But I think that there are people, if they're honest, that there will be things that come up in life that they may remember from the book and may bring them back there. And that's what I've kind of based our conversations on, which is similar to what we'll be doing in the series. We did it in season one, kind of going through and looking at what your experience was at that time, but then bringing it to the present For yourself, what has that process been like? Because I think you're a living example of that, Allie. You wrote this book while you were going through or had gone through certain things, but other things have happened since. What has it been like for you to relive that through the book?
Well, first, let me say that you're actually 100% right. It is not a one and done. It is definitely a pick it up, put it down, use it as a daily meditation or when you're going through tough times.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that perspective that, well, it's kind of sad because everybody will go through more tough times,
Right.
unfortunately. So,
Right.
yeah, that is something. For me personally, I have definitely found myself struggling, beating myself up, feeling like I'm not doing enough,
Mhm.
only to have, you know, famously my son said to me one time, I was talking with him about just all these things that needed to be done and I wasn't, accomplishing as much as I was hoping to, and I'd set out these goals and blah blah blah, and he said, Mama, you don't have to be fabulous every day. Right. And so it was like, okay, yes, right. And
Right.
so there have been multiple times where I have gone back to the book, flipped it open, sometimes just to a random page. Sometimes I know what I'm dealing with and just force myself to take my own advice, right? We're the worst about taking our own advice. No one
Mhm.
wants to do that. We all want to tell everybody else, you should do this, you should do that. And then we don't do it ourselves. But
Right.
really taking my own advice. And that has helped me a great deal. It really has. So if no one else read the book and it was just me, I'd still think it was a success.
And it is. I mean, I can say it as someone who has read it as well. Hello to you, MB. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. Hello to you, RHJ. Hello to you. Glad you could be able to join us. I want to reset real quick, Alan, and say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X and Instagram. Ally Dalsimer is with us today. She's the award-winning author of It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. We're gearing up for season 2 of our series on Amazon around her book. That's also a podcast series that we do. And of course, you all can be a part of that. It's going to kick off this Friday. I'll be live from Los Angeles. So you guys can be able to join us at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. That'll be 10 a.m. PST from me. We're going to remind you of that a little bit later. Allie, I want to talk about one of the messages in the book that I think is very timely for our audience. But also, I think it's one of your favorite messages as well. So, for those who aren't familiar with the format, Allie has a quote, and she gives who's the quote's attributed to, and then she has her what I call her commentary there. And this one is on page 29, Allie. I think it's one of your favorites. Do or do not. There is no try by Yoda. I want to talk about just two things that I think are appropriate for our audience as we're coming to the end of yet another month in a year that is flying by. You say this: when we're young, we all dream about what we'll grow up to be and do. Yet 95% of us never attain our dreams or our life's desires. Why? Maybe we didn't set specific, realistic, and achievable milestones. Maybe we didn't embrace a possible future consistently and with determination. Succeeding in our chosen endeavor takes effort. Everything we do takes effort. So if your goal is important, you do what it takes to get there. Or will you? You ask the questions. I want to talk about that because there are a lot of people who came into 2025 with a lot of high hopes and dreams for themselves, for their families, what they want to do personally, professionally. Now we've gotten to the end of August and they're like, is can this year just be over? you know,
Yeah.
talk to us about how you balance what you want to do with the amount of work you put into it, because I think that's really what I get out of this message is that it's hard sometimes to expect greatness where you're not bringing the greatness in yourself to it. Not saying you're going to be perfect in everything, right, but at least
Mhm.
bringing the best of yourself. What has that been like for you to kind of think about that as you look at your own life, Allie?
There is there is nothing in life that is worthwhile that is easy.
Hmm.
From work to pursuing a dream to relationships, friendships, marriages, partnerships, parent child relationships. Everything takes an effort. And an effort doesn't necessarily mean that it's drudgery. It doesn't mean it's work in the negative sense of that word. But work means effort. It's simply an expense of energy on your part. And for me, in writing this book, you know, when I'm currently working on another effort right now, and I talk about how I really enjoy the writing process, and yet there are days where I don't do any writing, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, am I really wanting to write this book?
Mm.
And then I ask myself, is this something I really want to do? And yes, it is. And so I find the time, I make the time, and I do it. I put in the effort because there's no one who's going to achieve your dreams for you. There's no one who's going to do the work for you. You have to do it yourself. It's
Yeah.
not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight unless you're one of these lucky few. Um, Consistent, motivated effort is at the core of all success. There's the phrase, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Well, that is 10 years of dedicated effort, of putting in the time, of making the plans and executing and whatever it is. For you, Cyrus, you've been doing this for over 20 years now. When you started, there wasn't, oh, everybody knows who I am because I've been doing it for 6 months.
Right.
Nobody knew who you were, right?
Right.
But you
Right.
continued to work every day. You continued to make the effort because it was important to you, because you wanted to do it. And
Yeah.
so for me, for my journey, I have decided that certain things are important to me, and I am now making the time and the effort.
Mm.
And it's interesting because there have been times where I have wanted to do something and I just never got around to it. Like I never found the time, found the time.
Mhm.
And through, honestly, through looking back through my own book and taking my own advice, I realized this is because these are things I don't really want to do. These are things people have suggested to me, and I either didn't want to do them or wasn't ready to do them.
Mhm.
And really allowing myself to listen and lean into what I value and my worth and my goals has really made all the difference. And I would encourage everybody to do that. And it does take some introspection. And that's an effort in and of itself, right? It takes
Yeah.
effort to simply find a quiet moment and really look inside to your inner voice, your gut, whatever you want to call it, your little voice, and 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 really embrace what your inner self is telling you. And that's the first step towards really achieving your true potential and becoming successful, maximizing your own personal potential.
And Ellie, what you said is something I talk about all the time with my friends, and that is it all begins with being honest with yourself. Like you said, you've realized there are times you're doing something and you realize it's not something really you want to do. Someone may have, you know, said, "Hey, and I think everyone's heard that, right? Oh, you'd be good at this. You should do dot dot dot." And then you find yourself doing something that you really one had no intention of doing. And look, as a friend, I'm someone who pushes people, and I have gotten upset with people and I talk about this because I don't want people to make the mistake I've made. I've gotten upset with people that I say, "Hey, you should do this. I'm going to support you in this," and they either don't do it or they don't give their all to it, and I get upset. Then at the end of the day, I realize, wait a minute, it's not like
Yeah.
they really wanted to do that anyway. That was on me. I was the one saying it, and so I think that honesty is so important. You say in this particular message two things I thought was really interesting. You say, we all experience days when the stars don't align, when the mood doesn't hit, and when nothing comes together. Instead of sitting at a computer staring at a blinking cursor, try listening to music or taking a walk or playing with your dog or calling a friend or whatever. Changing your focus frees your thoughts and reinvigorates your spirit, enabling you to return to the task later.
Mhm.
I wanted to key in on that part because the other thing I see people doing is giving up too soon.
Yeah.
It may be something they really want to do. This isn't something someone told them, but something happens. They hit a roadblock and they give up. What has helped you to to shift gears, Ally, and to not give up, but to adjust so you can move forward?
Well, I think the key to that is that burnout is real. Like
Yeah.
it's a real thing. Burnout is real. And burnout
Mhm.
doesn't mean, oh, I'm physically, emotionally, psychologically exhausted because I've been doing the same task all the time. Sometimes it's I've hit a creative roadblock, or
Mm.
I can't wrap my brain around this, or I didn't get enough sleep this week and I just can't, summon the energy to do this. And so I am huge on telling people to please take some time for recreation, because the root word of that is recreate. And it's so
Yeah.
important to take time to recharge, restore, re energize those batteries and come back fresh. The analogy I like to use is in music, it's important to play the pause, the rest between notes, because that pause is just as important as the notes to the overall quality of the piece. And instead of bifurcating our lives into work and play, merging those and understanding that one feeds into the other. It's the old Mary Poppins, where she gets the kids to clean up and she turns it into a game. Like I
Mhm.
did that with my kids, right? Cleanup was always a big game. If we had puzzle pieces or a board game, I'd hold out the bag and they would have to toss them in and try to get them in the bag or whatever. And you can implement those things as an adult. I am working on writing a book. I want to write a book. 81% of people want to write a book. 4% of people actually write a book, and fewer actually publish it. So you're one of the 81%, let's say, and you want to write a book, but you just can't figure out how, or you sit down and you can't write. Do something else. Look at photos of your family, or talk to a friend, or whatever it is you need to do to clear those cobwebs and break down those barriers, because obstacles really are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. You have to, as Bruce Lee said, you have to flow with the stream. You have to go the way the process takes you and be open, because nothing in life can be achieved if you're not open to allowing that change. So, yeah.
It's such a good reminder, which is why, again, we encourage people to join us as we kick off the new season of our series based on Ally's book, It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. Wendy Arsad, hello to you over there on Amazon. Glad to have you with us. So, again, for those of you on the Amazon side, you can get Ally's book in print. The Kindle edition, as you heard her say, is on sale right now for 99 cents. So I'm going to highlight it for you guys over there in the carousel. Also, there is the audio book you can be able to get as well. So make sure you guys get your copy of the book. This coming up this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 10 a.m. PST, where I'll be in Los Angeles. We're going to do our introduction. So basically telling you what to be able to expect from this season, where we're going to be starting in the book, because when we did season one, we started at the beginning. We're going to tell you where we're going to be starting and kind of give you an idea of how the series is going to go. So feel free to be able to tell a friend. Make sure you join us, get your copy of the book so you can be a part of the inspirational journey with us. Ally, I'm excited about season two. I didn't know if I was going to get one from you, but I mean, I'm glad you said yes again for that. How can our audience stay connected with you, Ally?
The best way is to go to my website, allydalsimer.com, and follow me on social medias. I'm most active on Instagram. I will say I have an exciting new project in the works that I am going to be announcing later this fall. And if you want to be the first to find out what that is, sign up for my newsletter. It's free,
Mm-hmm.
comes out twice a month. It's allydalsimer.com/newsletter. And I provide useful tips, resources, and links to motivate and inspire and get the inside skinny on this exciting new effort.
Awesome. Excited about that. Ally, congratulations to you again. Looking forward to our kickoff with the introduction this Friday.
Me too. Thank you so much, Cyrus, and thanks to everybody who is listening right now. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and we definitely thank you all for watching this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents. On Friday, it will not be Cyrus Webb Presents. It will be It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous every day. So make sure you guys join us for that. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thanks so much for being with us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.